This is Optimal Living Daily Relationships, episode 109. There's no shame in admitting parenting is hard, part 1, by Tammy Marshall with FamilyOptimize.com. And I'm Joss Marie, your very own personal narrator, right here on the Relationships edition of Optimal Living Daily. This is the show where I read to you from some of the best relationship blogs in the world, 5 days a week. The producer of this show, Justin Mullick, hand selects all the written blog articles, of which we adapt into audio posts with permission from the authors. Today, I have the first part of a 2-part parenting post from Tammy Marshall. So make sure and come on back for tomorrow's post to hear part 2. That'll be episode 110. Also, for those of you who may be new here, we try and keep things organized by putting family and parenting posts toward the end of the week. To learn anything else about the show, join our mailing list, or contact us, simply come by oldpodcast.com. That's oldpodcast.com. And with that, let's hear today's post as we optimize your life. There's no shame in admitting parenting is hard, part 1, by Tammy Marshall with FamilyOptimize.com. The sign on the door that mechanically swung open after ringing a discreet bell read, "Asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness." I entered through the door at this safe house where a woman with a clipboard and an accepting grin took down notes about my situation and my daughter while seated in a small and very scratched chair that looked like it had been donated at least once. I gave this complete stranger every detail of my life situation and my reason for being there asking for help. The day before, a fast-moving wildfire had come up to my neighbor's trees and we were unexpectedly level 3 evacuated. After the Boeing 747 firefighting tankers moved in and extinguished most of the destructive fire, we were still on evacuation notice, but allowed to return to our homes. That was fine for us, but not my 5-year-old. The wildfire that began several miles away in minutes quickly spread to in front of us. Despite its destructive speed, I was ready to go. But for whatever reason, screaming, "It's time to go, get in the car," didn't exactly motivate my little princess. Instead, I managed to evoke a few delicate tears and a sit-down tantrum that led me with no choice but to pick up my small child and literally throw her in the backseat of my small SUV before pulling out of my driveway and to safety. I didn't tell the woman I had picked up my child and threw her. I assumed because the woman was a social worker, she was also a mandated reporter, and my throwing my daughter would, to her, quite possibly be frowned upon and considered abuse regardless of a fire tornado being at our heels. Sometimes you just need a break. The burning in my neighbor's backyard was exactly the opposite burning that I had been participating in only days before. By burning, I mean burning calories on the treadmill. For whatever reason, getting a break for my toddler was great motivation for my participation in physical exercise. When my daughter turned the age of 2, I reached my breaking point. Before becoming a parent, I of course had heard of the terrible twos, but experiencing them was a completely different scenario than what I had imagined. The tantrums, the crying, and of course, the house destruction nearly did me in. Like the safe house, one exhausting day, I found myself at a local gym, filling out paperwork and putting my toddler in the child watch, looking disparaging while a woman with a clipboard took down my personal details. Before this, I never let her out of my sight. I felt like a failure. I thought asking for help made me weak as a mother. Days passed and my physical body got stronger. While this occurred, I also became a happier and better mother. I had more energy to run around in the backyard, and I was more pleasant to be around. There is, in fact, science that actually backs this up. If you've ever heard of a runner's high, You might already know that exercise actually releases endorphin hormones that trigger a positive feeling compared to that of taking morphine. Exercising also relieves stress, like the stress that comes from having a 2-year-old who seems intent on destroying your house and possibly even your soul. Friends and other social connects often commented on my determination at the gym. I virtually lived there for almost 3 years. I never mentioned that a big part of my hard work at the weights was directly linked to the breaks I was getting from my toddler. Running on a treadmill was easy, considering the alternative was keeping my child safe and out of my kitchen cabinets. I never mentioned the link between getting a break from parenting and my stellar moves on the cardio equipment because there's this unwritten rule about parenting. For some reason, we're not allowed to say that being a parent is actually really hard. Moreover, if I even looked stressed at the grocery store when trying to find sales and keep my toddler from toppling display cases, someone would always make a comment. Usually, the comment was something about me being a terrible mother, ungrateful, or simply mean. Not wanting to deal with stranger commentary, I quickly learned to keep a straight face and then release my angst at their hateful words in my sweat at the gym. I still don't understand the comments. My college job was at a home for pregnant teens. There, my job was to help them while they struggled as young parents. I did just that as effectively as I could. So, when being 30 and getting self-righteous comments instead of a kind word or helping hand, I simply began losing my faith in humanity. To be continued. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled, "There's No Shame in Admitting Parenting is Hard," by Tammy Marshall with FamilyOptimize.com. Tammy Marshall is a mother, has her own blog, and works full-time as a freelance writer. We couldn't be more thrilled to feature her content here on the show, so thanks to Tammy. Also, I couldn't relate with Tammy more when she mentions in her post about never having wanted to leave her child's side. As a first-time mother, it's totally normal to have a difficult time wanting to leave your baby. But over time, this can be wearing on a mother. I find now that I am at my absolute best when I am well rested and in good health, and that includes both physical and mental health. And in order to be in a premium state of mental and physical health, we need some time to ourselves, whether it be time to work out, meditate, journal, take a bath, you name it. It's vital for our own sanity and impacts our entire family's overall happidness. As I mentioned at the top of the show, you can contact us, join our mailing list, or learn anything about the show right at oldpodcast.com. That's oldpodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening to episode 109. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll plan on seeing you again tomorrow for the second part of this parenting post by Tammy Marshall, where your optimal life awaits.
Hello, Life Optimizer. This is Justin Malik, creator and producer of this podcast, but also Optimal Living Daily, the show where I read to you from even more blogs covering finance, productivity, minimalism, personal development, and more from incredible bloggers like Derek Sivers, Zen Habits, Mark and Angel, The Minimalists, and all the ones you hear on this show too. So if you enjoyed today's episode and like taking amazing blogs on the go, come on over to Optimal Living Daily and subscribe to that one too. And together, we'll start optimizing your life.
You've been listening to Optimal Living Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode and head to oldpodcast.com. That's OLDpodcast.com for a free gift as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.